Welcome to the Indie Horror Junkie podcast. Tonight, you will be joining Rotting Ricky and Asylum Amy as they play host to some of the true movers and shakers in the indie horror scene. So lock your doors, check under the bed, and get comfortable, because here we go.
And I'm Sylvia Saska, and we're the Saska Sisters, and this is Indie Horror Junkie! Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie!
We're a panic attack!
Indie Horror Junkie!
Woo! Indie Horror Junkies!
Indie Horror Junkie! Indie Horror Junkie!
Hello.
Junkies, episode number 66 of the Indie Horror Junkie podcast. How's everybody doing?
No, wow, 66 episodes, unbelievable.
It's crazy, right? We had a lot to go over, and just watching all the MegaCon stuff, we definitely have some really cool news for that we want to share. So we're going to slowly throw the fun at you over the next several weeks of what we have coming in 2025. It's going to be very hard for Rick and I to keep our lips sealed on this, but we're going to do our best. Let's talk about the magazine. We just dropped issue number 13 on Friday the 13th, and we have Terrifier 3, Damian Leone's Terrifier 3 on the cover. There you have it, Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton. We also have Joe Castro, the cast of Mutilator 2. We did an incredible article on Tim Wagner, John Abrahams, who was also in Terrifier 3, Amityville Barbie, the Addams Family. That's just touching the surface of what we have inside the 40 beautiful pages. If you have not got your hands on a copy of this, head over to indiehorrorjunkie.com and get your physical or PDF copy of that. We're also several days away of making our final selections for the Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival. So be on the lookout for some updates. We've already made a few announcements of some films that we have accepted, but the remaining films will be announced here very soon, and we will be sending our schedule off to MegaCon Orlando. So we have not already made your plans for that. You don't want to miss it. Like I said, we have some really cool news coming up. We're going to share a little bit of that with you tonight. Those dates are going to be February 7th, 8th, and 9th, MegaCon Orlando. So get your tickets, get your weekend passes, come join the Junkies, watch all of the short films, feature films, indie horror. We have some amazing special guests that we're going to get into. Sorry, my backdrop just went crazy. And we've got panelists. We have Q&As. There's going to be so much going on. So again, February 7th, 8th, and 9th, make your hotel reservations if you're flying, and book your tickets. But speaking of MegaCon, we're going to make our first of several fun announcements tonight. Last week, we had some really fun guests on, the original writer, director, and producer, and some of the original cast from the 1984 indie horror slasher, The Mutilator. And we are going to be premiering Mutilator 2 at MegaCon. So there you have it. Some of our very special guests. This is the first time you're going to be hearing this announcement. Buddy Cooper, unfortunately, will not be able to make it. We're going to miss him so much. But
No. Just to catch up, Buddy Cooper is going to be there because we're going to be moving the screening to Friday night. So he is going to be able to make it since it's Friday night. That's why I've got
Buddy Cooper's coming. I take it back. So, okay, you just made my day right, because I was pretty bummed about that news. We have Ruth Martinez, who played Pam, Bill Hitchcock, who played Ralph, and they are both in Mutilator 1 and 2. And Mutilator 2, we have Carl Grasso and Dan Grogan. So we're super excited to be able to finally watch Mutilator 2, especially with the cast and crew. They're going to have a panel, a Q&A. They're going to be joining us on that Friday night. So if you didn't have a reason to come, there's just one of the many reasons. But one of the many reasons. But yeah, we had them on the show last week. If you guys have not seen the original Mutilator, it is a classic 80s horror slasher. It's got an incredibly fun score. So you definitely want to check it out. It's one of my go-to comfort films. So can't wait to finally meet them at MegaCon. What else do we have going on?
Well, we do have a scheduled appearance coming up next month.
We do. We're going to be at Tampa Bay Screams. That is going to be held at OCC in Clearwater. We love OCC. We love Tampa Bay Screams. So come check out everything horror. Tons of guests, tons of vendors. So we're excited for this event. We were invited last year to attend, and we were fortunate enough to be invited back. So come meet and greet, take pictures, hang out with the Junkies. We're going to have our magazines, our t-shirts. We're going to have DVDs. We're going to have posters to sign. So if you're in the area, it's just a one-day event, this one. They're going to have another one later in the year, but January the 19th from noon to 6 p.m. at OCC Roadhouse, and that is in Clearwater, Florida. And that's a great venue.
It is. Beautiful venue. Huge venue. Just great food, great everything. It's just really fun.
Great people.
Yep. Giant American flag there, and hard to miss coming from anywhere. So you definitely got to come check it out.
So a few, busy things coming up, and we are not quite announcing yet the January cover of the issue, but just be on the lookout for that. We have a very special cover coming to you, continuing to bring you the best of any and everything indie horror. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But till then, we have all of our back issues, number 11 with Stream, number 12 with Stream, number 13 with Terrifier. And speaking of issue number 12, our guest tonight, she is a returning guest, Bryn Dami. We're going to be talking about her upcoming indie horror feature film, Never Return. And they just wrapped up another round of their crowdfunding. They're going to be hitting that back up March and April of next year. So we'll get into that. But back in September, I believe, Bryn can correct me if I'm wrong on that, they filmed their teaser trailer, which we're going to give you a little tease of that tonight before we bring her on.
All right, here we go.
Hey, you ready to go? Okay, are you here?
Yeah. I'll be down in a minute. Guys, can we just calm down? Can
This
we
is
just have a
such
good
bullshit.
weekend,
What are we even
please?
pretending right now that we're like friends? We're all this one big happy family when literally anytime I'm with her, all she does is talk shit.
No,
She calls me names.
Guys.
She's rude. She comes at my boyfriend. She comes at my house life. And I tell you like the biggest secret in my entire life and you can't even stand that?
It doesn't even matter. Like, you are the worst friend.
I'm the
ever.
worst
I
friend?
wouldn't even call
I'm
you
your
a
only friend.
No, you're not.
Guys! Seriously!
I'm just kidding.
Ow. Sorry. Smushing him.
What are you?
Oh no. What does that even mean?
All right. Let's make a toast. I know it's been a long time since we've all been together. And although we're missing Carter and Zoe, I'm just really grateful to be together with you guys again. I love you guys. Cheers. Love you.
I love you.
Cheers.
Sorry, come on.
right here. He was.
Let's get out of here. Let's go.
How very cool was that?
Oh, the mask. You gotta tell me about that mask here in a minute. Well, welcome back, Bryn. You are the mastermind creative behind this film. We've had you on before to talk about it. You guys have then since filmed this teaser trailer. So let's get into it. Tell us about the project. Tell us about this teaser trailer, when you filmed it, where you filmed it. You've got a great cast. What's going on?
It's always surreal, like watching it still. Even after filming it and editing it, it's crazy. I am very lucky to have the cast that I have. We saw, well, me, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but me seeing that ensemble together was insane. They had instant chemistry, and I was like, like I just got so lucky there. But for those who don't know about Never Return is about a group of friends that go on a weekend getaway before they graduate high school. And the one lead male, his sisters go missing. And we do a time jump to 4 years later where the group reunites before they enter adulthood and graduate college. And they think it's going to be a very fun-filled weekend with more memories. But stuff goes to hell, and now they have to fight or die trying. I wrote this when I was 16 years old, and I actually put this on stage with a much smaller cast. And then one day I knew, I was like, I want to make this into a movie. Obviously at 16, I wasn't super knowledgeable about the filming world. I knew some stuff because I know family, friends and whatnot that are in the industry, but that's when I really started fully diving in to the filming industry. And then I met a wonderful group of people, and we started casting. And now I have this wonderful ensemble and an amazing crew that have been ready to go for months. The biggest holdback is the funding, which I've found is the hardest part about making films, especially independent, obviously. So there's been a lot of craziness and in a good way. And some hardships, but that I feel like comes with the territory a lot of times at the end of the day too. But without the support of my peers and my friends and my family and my cast who truly believes in me, I'm just very blessed to be where I'm at. Filming the teaser, so we filmed at my cousin's place in Ohio.
Oh, very cool.
The biggest thing, and it's so funny, because I was trying to look for a location for us to film this for 2 days. And she was like, well, I mean, you can put an axe through my garage door, which you saw in the trailer. And I said, sold, we're doing it. So that's where we filmed for 2 days. Got an Airbnb for everybody to stay at. And it was 12 hours both days, give or take. And it was just a wonderful experience. I met Kaylee Hyman through conventions. Everybody will know her from Terrifier 2 as Brooke. And she's just a wonderful human being. She's so fun. She's so kind, and she's super talented. And then you have Josh Riley, Sarah Elena, Alexis Neuenschwander, Ashley Ray. I can go on and on with all the names. I know
a fun cast.
Yeah, and I just know them at all different calibers, from the con world, from working on sets, from acting school in college when I went to acting school in New York. They're just all wonderful, talented human beings, and they're really ready to get down dirty and bloody, which I'm excited about because it's going to be a crazy 12 days.
And you guys are going to be filming next summer, correct?
Yes. We don't have, yes, 2025 for sure. I just don't know if we're doing July or August yet, but we do have dates within those 2 months that are going to be within the deciding factor of when we film. But yes, we will be filming in 2025, no matter what. If I have to bust my ass and fund it myself, that's what I'm going to do, because I don't want to push it anymore. And I want this in theaters in 2026 for everybody to see the amazing talent on screen.
Well, you've been busting your ass, which is why you're back, because you've been going through this process and you've made so many different moves and you've pivoted and you've done what you needed to do. And there's a lot of, like you said, there can be a lot of hardships when it comes to making independent films, just aside from, hi Howard, of, the funding. And, it sounds like you got a really great location, which is awesome. My first question to you would be, with this experience so far and everything that you've been through in this pre-production process, what would you tell someone who's in your shoes, who is going through this the first time? Like, if you could go back, what advice would you give to yourself and what advice would you give to other new filmmakers? That was a loaded question, but
I mean, in a sense it is, for sure, because there's so many things that I can tell myself. The biggest thing I would say is accept the no's. Just because you got a no doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And when we were at the top of pre-production, I was talking with studios, a couple of them, and everything was good. And then silence. And I was like, where's the answer at? Don't look for that answer. And if it is a no, accept it and just keep moving. That's why I love platforms like Indiegogo or Kickstarter or even GoFundMe, I think is another one, because it does give opportunity for independent movies to raise funds for their film. And a lot of times people end up funding themselves at a big capacity. We've changed a lot with cast, crew, budget, all the things, because I just want to make sure, everybody is paid well and taken care of. They're eating well, they're sleeping well, all the things. Because 12 days is not a lot of days, especially when you're doing 12 hours a day and you're doing night shoots and day shoots. And this is a SAG production, so you have to have at least 2 days off as well. So on top of that, you're, again, just making sure you're getting everything you need, but with such a small time frame. And there's been so many people, whether they're indie or they have made a huge name for themselves and they're still even working in the indie realm. Huge example I'd say is Spider One and his wife Chrissy Fox. They've made a couple different films, Little Bites. I think Spider said they filmed that in 12 days. It can be a lot, but I think everybody's really prepared and ready for all the goofiness at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
The delirious will set in.
Yes. I'll be like, I'm ready. And everybody's gonna be like, I'm dying.
So are you guys all 12 days at that location?
So it's not
in
going to
that
be
general area.
My cousin's house is still going to be part of the film. It's just going to be a separate location from the main location. Our main location is still in Ohio, but it's going to be 12 days. So we'll have a couple different other locations that we're going to be filming at. So obviously we can show the different, like William's house or the lead male's home when he's talking to his parents at the top of the film. But majority will be held at our main lodging location in Ohio. Yeah.
Very cool. That's exciting. And I happened to creep across one of your lives. It was a live or a reel or something. You were given some information that you have something coming up in January. It's a way for people to get more information or get involved. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So my mom's friend graciously is going to be holding an event with and for me January 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. And she has a jewelry line. It is a beautiful jewelry line. I know jewelry is not going to be for everybody. But if you can't make it, I will also send a link to you so you can check it out. But she, again, is graciously donating all her commissions that she's making towards the film. So I'm going to show some BTS photos, show the trailer, hopefully get a couple of my actors there so everybody can also speak with them besides me. It's just going to be a little small get together with friends, family, acquaintances, and you get to look at jewelry. You can sit down and eat, mingle, watch the trailer, chat with me.
Question here from Howard. How can indie horror fans help you get it going? I would love to back this project.
Thank you. We would love to have you in any capacity, first of all. Biggest thing is word of mouth and social media. I think social media is a very powerful source for independent film. So when the campaign comes back up again, I am either going to do late March or like right before tax season happens in April, tax day. I said that in my video and I was like, I don't know which one I want to go with. But yeah, so because I've had a couple people, they're like, oh, I just want to wait till after the holidays, but I really want to contribute. I want to get this perk and that perk. And, you know, I want to be able to give that opportunity for everybody, because I know there's a lot of people that love contributing to indie horror and being involved in indie horror specifically. And I'm also all about, you know, welcoming new people into the industry and giving people the chance that they deserve. It's all about the determination and hard work and love for what you do. And I feel like the more people you bring in, you build your film family. And that's like one of the biggest things that you want to zone in on and feel blessed about, because then you can keep creating amazing things. And I've slowly begun to find that. And I'm just very, very lucky.
Now, do you know what some of those perks are going to be looking ahead, or not quite yet?
So a lot of the perks that were already on the last two campaigns that we've run will be added back on. And I'm trying to think of a couple more new ones for sure. I also would love to hear other people's opinions about the perks. Pricing, I mean, I've heard the pricing for this one was a lot better and more manageable for people to grab onto these perks. But if there's a perk that you didn't see that you really want, or you know a lot of people are going to want to grab at more, please feel free to let me know, because again, I want to be able to give that opportunity for somebody to grab a unique perk. And that's another thing that's cool about running these campaigns is they're all different in their own ways, but a lot of these perks are very cool and awesome to grab at the end of the day that you wouldn't always be able to get from another project.
Especially when you have like the signed, you know, like physical media and posters and things like that that you're able to offer, because that's something that horror fans always love to get their hands on.
I agree.
And speaking of your trailer that we just showed here tonight, we're also going to be showing that at our Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival. So if you are there, we're going to be throwing it in as a, you know, kind of a trailer in front of one of the premieres that we'll be having that weekend. And speaking of MegaCon, I just got to toast ya. We have our beautiful MegaCon mule mugs that we, you know, get wild with at Wild Bill's with our
if you go to MegaCon,
our endless refills of root beer, you guys.
Endless refills.
Yes. But yeah, if you go to MegaCon, this is our favorite. You will see us hauling these around. Buffalo Bill's is amazing. They have all these different cups, and you can just get endless refills and fill yourself with caffeine the entire time. And trust me, you guys, you're going to need it because it's busy and it's crazy. But I just had to toast to you, Rick.
Of course.
Lots coming with MegaCon, including this trailer.
I do have some pictures here, or some stills that I'd like to bring up. And when I bring them up, can you describe to us what's happening, who's in them, and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. We got 6 of them. Here we go.
So this is part of our ensemble. There were 2 actors that weren't able to come on set for the teaser trailer due to work or traveling. So from left to right, we have Alexis Neuenschwander, who's playing Micah, Sarah Elena, she's playing Jamie, Kaylee Hyman, she's playing Joe, Josh Riley is playing Ryder, Anthony Dane's playing Paul, and Candace Eyre is playing Kaya. So this is our lead ensemble, part of our lead ensemble. They are sitting by the campfire, just trying to make more memories, and also trying to think of the word, honor Jackson's sisters. Since they've been missing, they don't know what happened to them, and they do miss them dearly. This is a very tight-knit group, and they've been together pretty much their entire lives. They grew up together. So to lose Carter and Zoe was very hard on them, but they also don't want to let that stop them from continuing to build more memories, because they know that Carter and Zoe would want them to. So this is Kaylee Hyman and Josh Riley. So Ryder and Joe They are hiding in the garage from the crazy killer. I love this shot and this take in particular, because if you look very closely, you can see the tear coming down Kaylee's eye. And in the actual live footage, you can see the tear just like fly out of her eye. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was so good. These two together had such beautiful chemistry. And I can't wait to see their full relationship unfold on screen. Jo is pregnant and they have their own place and they're finally building their little family and really growing up compared to the rest of the group. So this relationship not only is beautiful, but it's going to be very, trying to watch how I phrase things.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. It's going to be very interesting, I feel like, for the audience to see how tough Jo is, even pregnant. Because ain't nobody stopping Jo. This is another still, not steal. Goodness gracious. Kaylee. This was in the garage again. This was honestly one of my top favorite scenes to shoot. We shot it separately. So Josh and Kaylee were one shot, and then my dad was the one who put the axe through the door for that shot, and he was so pumped about it, and I was so proud.
Your dad is so involved in this whole process, by the way. So let's get a round of
My
applause
parents
for that,
are.
I got mad respect for him. He's so fun.
I am very lucky in that realm as well to have such supportive parents that are also, they have no idea what goes into this stuff, and to have them help on set was so fun, and they really busted their ass and came through, and I'm very lucky and proud of them to have them be a part of this as well, because they will be on the feature. But you know, my dad made sure everybody was also well taken care of while I was handling all the directing and whatnot. But this shot particularly, I just loved everything about what Kaylee and Josh did together. Kaylee kept saying like, oh, I feel like I'm being dramatic. I feel like I'm being dramatic. I'm like, no, like you're hitting the nail on the head and you're doing what you feel is authentic. And I appreciate that from both of you. Because there was one
lighting
part,
here.
Josh screams at one part and he's like, I don't know why I screamed by the time we cut. And I'm like, it was authentic. It was in the moment. So I feel like that's another thing for actors to know is like, never doubt what comes up authentically or just the decisions you make. Like, that's also my job to like, let you know, like, okay, let's do this instead and try something different, or don't do this kind of thing. That's why we as directors are here too, to direct the actor. But I feel like they made my job so easy. So I got lucky there. So this is a shot of my dad in the killer's outfit.
Oh, come on. This is your dad?
This is my dad.
I'm telling you guys, she's got the coolest dad.
And so the mask. So this is not going to be the initial mask. I'm working with my special effects artist, and y'all are not ready for how the masks actually look. I was like, holy
here we go.
It's going to be nuts. But for this mask in particular, it's kind of, I think it's funny. So I ordered plain white masks off Amazon, and I was like, okay, I'm working with my set deck guy, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to think of how I really want to do this mask. I want to do something simplistic that it would obviously look like, you know, the killer has been out in the woods and they made this themselves. They're not going to have anything like super crazy or extravagant kind of thing. And so I got these masks. I used black eyeliner, red lipstick, and brown eyeshadow, and punched it a couple times. And here you go.
And punched it a couple times. Okay, so I have a recommendation for your Indiegogo.
Yes.
Have some of these masks available, these screen-worn masks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about that with my special effects guy that is making the masks. I think that's going to definitely be something that's great, especially once everybody sees what the final mask looks like. If I wasn't on this project, I honestly would probably snatch it myself. And I'm not just saying that. It is a very crazy, creepy, awesome looking mask. So this is Ashley Ray. She stepped in as our killer for this shoot. And so same thing, same mask. So basically my point of what the killer's look is at the end of the day. Is obviously we're not going to have something like super crazy looking like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. Like, yeah, theirs are pretty simplistic and plain in their own right. But what I mean is, you know, the killer's been hiding away. Nobody knows what happened to the girls. Were they killed? Were they kidnapped? Where did they go? Are they gone? Like, what happened to the girls? And so with this killer, they've been watching this group for a very long time. And when they come back, you know, it's not something that's going to be like the killer's going to be looking fresh. They've been living in the woods in the middle of nowhere, taking care of themselves like a savage. So I wanted that kind of simplistic look without it being anything eccentric, if that's the right
a really scary thought, that there's these killers out there and they've done what they've done and they're just literally hiding out in the woods.
Yeah,
the thought of that freaks me out.
Well, and because obviously nobody's going to know until we're watching the film in theaters, you know, they've been stalking this group for years, and it's like, what is the intention of this killer? Why are they after them? So I think I'm also intrigued to see people's thoughts on that, who they think the killer may be. Like, I just can't wait to hear everyone's thoughts about it once we actually sit down for a premiere of it.
Is it just one killer, or are there multiple killers?
Oh, that could be a spoiler.
Maybe. Is that a spoiler? Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
All right,
let's talk about this photo.
Yeah. So this is Sarah Elena playing Jamie, and the killer grabbing her. There is a scene. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but I will say that there is a scene in the film where Jamie does get captured. So this is a little tease of that. It's not verbatim what happens in the feature. I wanted to save a little more of that, obviously, for the feature for everybody to see. But she does get grabbed at one point in the film. And I loved this still because, first of all, the lighting. I wanted to do specific lighting for specific scenes like this, like we see with Alexis screaming, just because that's where a lot more of the violence is coming in. Whereas, like, the first part of the teaser, it's like more light, and you can feel a little gloominess in certain senses because you see Joe and Kaya's dynamic and how their friendship, just a little tease of how their friendship is. They argue, and there's a lot of drama between those two. But then you see the group together, and it's a beautiful thing, and they're laughing and they're happy. And then you see the speech, but they all love each other no matter what. So that's the one thing I love about the difference between the first half and the second half of the teaser, is you get a little taste of what the friend group is, but then you also see, like, oh shit, stuff's gonna go down.
You get to see that relationship between everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Those are creepy ass. I'm still tripping over the idea. So where I grew up, I'm more in the country. I'm like 20 minutes east of Tampa, more towards where the strawberry fields are and where the farmers are. And so I grew up on land, and we had lots of trees on our property, and that always freaks me out at night. There's a cow pasture like on one side of that, you know, where I grew up, of the street, but our whole property behind my Landscape Obscure movie guy actually looks pretty good. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So, but behind my bedroom window, between our property and the next property, which had woods on it, it's just woods, and you could hear everything crinkling at night. It was so quiet, and I mean, down to like you'll hear raccoons fighting or like cats fighting. But it's a creepy. The woods to me are so creepy. They've always freaked me out. Like, you're not going to catch me camping. You're not going to catch me doing anything out in the woods, even though I grew up on land. I remember my dad setting tents up in the backyard for me and my brother, just to have fun and like go camp out in the backyard. I couldn't do it. I would go out there and I'd, be all cozy and have my sleeping bag and think it's cute. And then I'd be right back inside. Ain't no way I'm sleeping out there. So we would end up in the family room in our sleeping bags. So movies like this with outdoor stuff and woods, I know it's so basic, but they really do horrify me.
No, I mean, I totally get it because like I live in a neighborhood with neighbors like, you know, right next to each other. So, but there's still woods behind my house, and there's times at night where we hear shit and I'm like, something's dying out there.
Right out here is all woods. And you hear everything from like howling coyotes to like, it still freaks me out.
It's kind of funny in certain senses because, you know, like for me as like a big example, like I grew up on horror. I started watching horror movies when I was 3. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And you know, you'd think I'd be terrified all the time. I mean, I get a little jumpy depending on a haunted house or if I hear a noise or whatever. There is something about hearing a noise out when you're outside at night.
The random noise in the middle of the night at like 1,
and
2,
you're like
3 o'clock in the morning.
Am I about to die?
It's usually just a big animal walking around, but you hear the crack of the sticks underneath them, and you're like, I mean, I can be in a dead sleep, and it wakes me up, and I'm like head up against the window, like making sure the lights aren't off. I'm peeking out.
Oh my God.
I know, I can't help it. And there's the woods behind us. Every now and then there's a car that drives up close to our property, and you see the lights, and it happens in the middle of the night. I'm like, what are they doing out there in the middle of the night? It's 3 a.m. Why do I see lights? And I'm peeking out the window like a crazy neighbor. I do freak stuff. I don't like the woods.
Your own personal horror movie.
Scary for people like me.
You just never know though nowadays either. So I completely get it.
Out around here.
So what, as an indie filmmaker, okay, what is your favorite part about making an indie film?
I love learning from everybody. I think it's important to stay open and learn from everybody. I mentioned this in the reel that I posted, but I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but there was an independent filmmaker. She posted this video, and it basically said along the lines of, you want to be, as the director, the dumbest person on set. Not literally, but pretty close to it, only because, first of all, for me, I want to make sure I am fully available for everybody on set. All my cast, all my crew, whatever they need at any capacity, I am there. I want to make sure I am fully there for them as the director. That is my job. But also, I want them to learn from me like I want to learn from them. There might be something that they make a choice as for an actor in a certain scene, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't see it like that, but I really like what you chose to do. Let's keep rolling with it. And it gets my brain moving. Like, okay, how can this next shot look? What can I maybe change for this actor? Or maybe the other actor catches on if it's, you know, with the scene partners and everything. So, like for me, I don't know how to run a camera at all. So that's why, like, the DP, my buddy, Chris Hackett, I can't wait to finally work with him. Thank you, Ross Marquand, for introducing us. You know, Chris is a great dude, and he's like, I'm ready to do all this crazy stuff. And I was like,
oh, the mind of a DP, I'm fascinated by. Like,
oh, it's crazy, especially.
I get into that.
Chris cracks me up because he's like, I will hang off the side of the car while they're driving down the road if I have to. And I was like, as long as I don't have to take you to the ER.
Because as a director, you know how you want things to look.
Yes.
And as a director, you know what you want the actors to give. But those DPs, they're wired differently, and they see things differently because they live and breathe this. Yes. And when you give them, okay, this is what I want, they take that, but what they do with it is magical. What they do with it, it's almost like you tell them what you want, and it just clicks and they get it, but they deliver it back to you better than you imagine. That's what I love about working with DPs, because that is their niche. That is what they do. And that's a beautiful thing for me. So I agree with everything that you're saying, being open, because you learn so much by the people around you. And actors, Rick and I are on set with incredible actors all the time. Just what we did with The Turning, we had our expectations for these we knew these actors were going to blow us away. We knew the cast that we had, but they would get on set and they would just launch, and we would sit back and be like, okay, here we go. And let's keep rolling.
Right.
when you have talented actors like the cast that you have, they really take the time with those characters and they know what they're fighting for and they take it in a direction. And even there might be moments where you get to push them because you know what they're capable of and you want to push them in a different direction just to get a different take.
Right.
Just to get a different take. And they're able to take that information and that redirection, but they still launch it in a way that you're just like, my God, you are so talented. So yeah, you're right. Just being open and letting everybody do their job.
Exactly.
Not micromanaging every single little detail, trusting the people that you hired them for a reason, let them do their jobs.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
And that's a good point what you were talking about too, about the reading and stuff like that, and the character development and giving notes and stuff like that to the actors. I was watching an interview with one of my favorite directors, Quentin Tarantino, and he talked about that what he likes to do when he has that initial read through or a table read or whatever that is, he doesn't give anybody any direction whatsoever. He said, at the end of the day, these people have read the script. They've formed their own opinions of these characters and everything else. He said, I like to go that first read through and let them give me what their interpretation is. Because once you give them direction, once you tell them what you're looking for or how you see it or whatever, you're never going to get that initial reaction from them.
That's
so you
true.
want to find out and see that and see what they brought to the table, because what they're thinking might be better than what you envisioned. So that's a really good point.
Because that actor is always going to want to honor the writer and the director. So if you give them redirection, it automatically goes in and it's locked in.
Yep.
But if you let them explore, that's a beautiful way to do it. I like that.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's another reason why we hire actors. Like, that's their job. Yeah. You hired them because you, as the director or casting director, trust them for that role. So let them be that character. And then if there's something you want to tweak as the director, then you tweak it and then you keep moving. I also feel like, I don't know how every actor is. So like, I don't want to throw them off what they're going through in that moment. It's authentic for them in that moment. And I feel like although there's a person playing that character, there's bits and pieces of them and from real life in that character.
It's a parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another question I've got for you, because making an indie film as opposed to making a studio film is a completely different animal. Not only do you wear many more hats, you don't have a lot of the things that are available to a studio or something like that, whether it be closed sets and all that good stuff. So, and even though I probably know the answer to this question, I always try to ask it to see, what is the hardest part of the process as an independent filmmaker that you've noticed or come across or tangle with it each and every time?
Hands down, funding, period.
I was going to say that should be on everybody's shirt. Funding is almost always the number one.
And, like I'm prepared to do some of like putting in some of my own money. I have no problem with doing that. But I know for a fact that there is somebody or some like couple people that would be interested in helping heavily fund this project. Everybody loves horror. I feel like a huge thing is, and it's no offense, because I'm kind of a sucker in certain senses for the sequels or prequels or remakes, but I think we're all tired of seeing that over and over and over. I haven't seen anything super original except for maybe like The Substance recently with Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, and I love
it.
No spoilers. I still have not seen that yet.
Oh, please go see it. Not
Amy
only was that movie is super.
I just want to see it in theaters. I think it needs to be experienced in a theater.
100%. I agree with that. And I think that movie is also empowering in its own right because it has a female
indie.
That, but also heavily female directed, written, acting, and
story, purpose. Yeah, Mary King. Listen, Mary knows. She knows horror.
Of course, Mary's seen it. Yes,
Mary knows horror. She's actually one of our judges for the Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival, her and her husband, and we're so thankful for them. But they're amazing, but they know their horror, especially Mary. But it was all the female dynamics of it, and the story and the purpose and the drive behind it and the day-to-day that's like real. Like we do live this. We do have these crazy thoughts, you don't want to, you suppress them, but at the end of the day, we're human, and they dive deep into that. And but in like the most beautiful, creative, disgusting, honest, human way. But it's real.
That ending was.
It's real. I mean, that's as real as us and our own thoughts in our head. It's real. But the
don't make me dump you, Amy.
on that, oh my God, it felt so indie. I was hoping that it
Please
was.
go see it, Rick. Please. Oh, it's so
I almost had
worth
the dump button there for Amy when she was getting close there. I definitely want to see it. I mean, it just looks amazing, and I'm a big fan of Demi Moore. So, I mean, after hearing about that, I'm really anxious to see it.
One of my favorite Demi Moore movies, I'm just going to throw it out there, Nothing But Trouble. Her and Chevy Chase, two of my favorite actors from the 80s. If you guys haven't seen it, go see it. It's not horror by any aspect. It's actually comedy, but it's
horror adjacent.
It is. Yes, it is. It definitely is terrifying in some aspects. Just laughing. Mm-hmm. It's terrifying. It's funny. It's it's all of the above. If you guys haven't seen that movie, go see it. It's great.
Yes, I own it.
I think I have it on VHS.
Hell yeah. Yep. We love a good old
One
VHS.
last shout out for The Substance. You were right.
Yes.
I will see it in the movies. I promise. I will find a way.
It's a must. It's really good.
It just got nominated for a ton of stuff,
which is amazing because I feel like horror is finally like really starting to get the recognition it deserves. Finally,
especially after Terrifier 3, what it did at the box office.
Oh,
that was insane. If that does not get people's attention, I don't know what will.
I'm so proud of those guys. They deserve every bit of it.
Absolutely.
Yep. I agree. And they're all great people. Like I've been around them a lot, you know, chit-chatting at shows and just all the things. They're such great people and they are hardworking people. I would love to work with them too. You know, there's so many amazing people I'd love to work with. It's just a matter of when.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll happen. It's bound to happen. The amount of people, because you're at conventions all the time. You travel to go to conventions. I know earlier this year I was like, you went to Spookalla. I'm 20 minutes away from Spookalla. Like if I would have known, I would have met you over there. It was just one of the shows that I didn't go to because they have multiple shows a year.
Right.
But that's the great thing about horror conventions is you meet everybody. I've met those guys at horror conventions on several occasions. I went and worked their merch booth up at Monster Mania last year.
Yeah.
You know, you get to meet these people and they're just like us, you know, and that's such a cliche thing to say. But Rick and I were having a conversation today about the Terrifier franchise. Mm-hmm. And I said the drive and the success behind it is people like us watching the journey.
Yeah.
Since that original short film for concept, everybody watching the journey and really just rooting and applauding for Damien and just going deeper and deeper into the character and the special effects, the practical special effects, and getting that cult following behind it, and how they funded the second one and how they took that and went to the third and it just got bigger and it got huge. I mean, I don't think Damien ever would have. And that's what in his mind he would want to happen. That's what we all want to happen. But for it to actually happen, I think it was the journey that he took. And he was so open about it to the horror community that everybody just latched onto it and were cheering for him. And they're still cheering for him.
Yeah.
Because they saw the passion, the drive, and the struggle and everything that he did to make that happen. Not backed by Hollywood, unrated film. There's no studio behind him. It's just him and Phil Falcone and their team and their passion and their drive, and they did it.
Yeah,
they did it. So, you know.
So tell me, Bryn, okay? I know you're a big horror fan, obviously, and you're making horror films. So what is it that you think is, and Amy and I had a conversation like this also off the air, what is it you think that is the driving force for people when they watch horror movies? What is it that they enjoy the most? Why is the horror genre such an amazing genre that gets people excited? What is it?
Or what is it to you?
Yeah, what is it to you?
This will be like a mixed answer for like me, and I feel I don't like speaking for people, but this is my opinion. I feel like it's a couple of things. You want to have a good story, you want to have a plot there, something, but you also want to build characters that you care about. Especially in horror, at least, and then that part's my opinion. I feel like it's important to have not only a good story, but having characters you care about. Because, okay, so you have the killer going after the final girl. Why should I care about the final girl? What is it about her that I'm going to like? Are any of her friends going to live? Why do I like her friends? Why do I dislike her friends? Or if it's a final boy, or multiple final girls, final boys, which may or may not happen in my movie. I don't know. Just wait and see. But I think the story and building great characters is super important. I mean, again, since we were just talking about it, look at the Terrifier franchise. Like, we started in one. I feel like it had a plot in its own right. It may not have made sense right off the bat until we got into 2 and 3, but I feel like there was a lot there. You gave me 2 best friends that were drunk coming from a Halloween party. I cared about them. They're just trying to live their life and have fun. I feel like a lot of people in their early 20s related to that. And then she's like, yo, sis, come pick me up. Like, we've all been there, like giving realistic scenarios too, and not just having like everybody constantly run into the wrong room or out the wrong door. So like for Never Return, I wanted to build an original story that made sense, that people can follow through. I wanted to build a group of characters that people can relate to and fall in love with in their own way, or hate to love, or just hate in general. But I wanted to make them smart. That doesn't mean their plan's going to go through properly and everybody's going to be hunky-dory living.
Especially if they run upstairs.
Yeah. There's going to be some blood and death. It's just a part of the horror genre. But again, I wanted these people to be like, okay, we need to get rid of this fucking guy and we need to get the hell out of here. So I feel like I was able to write that, and I hope and feel like people will see that when we get to theaters. I can't say enough how that's going to be a surreal moment for me. Like getting that into a premiere in theaters with everybody there, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, like this is real life. Oh my gosh.
It is a special
feeling. I'm inviting myself to your premiere, by the way.
Oh my gosh, please.
We have been on this journey.
Y'all are definitely invited.
Like, and I've said this to you and I mean it. I'm going to say to everybody, I'm so proud of this girl. This is somebody who, you wrote this in high school. And I'm serious. You wrote this in high school. You put it on stage. You've now adapted it to, for film, a full feature length film. This is somebody who hasn't given up. That's why I was asking you, like, if you could give advice to somebody, what would it be? Because I care what you think. It's not just like, oh, I made a movie and everything's great. No, it's not. It's people struggle. This is not easy. It is, you have your process and you know what you want, but you have to problem solve along the way. And the timeline of things might not happen the way you want. And like you said, you got to accept those no's, but you didn't take those no's and go home. Girl, you used them and you kept going. And now you guys are getting ready to shoot the feature. And, next year by the end of the summer. And that's incredible. You're a testimony to independent filmmakers and independent artists. Like, you have the heart and the passion, the drive behind it. And you're going to be one of those stories like Damien, like watch what she's doing. You're a really young filmmaker and you took a big bite out of this from the get. There's something to be said about that,
Thank you.
So with that being said, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you, because you got to follow this girl and see what's going on with this movie and keep up with this young filmmaker.
And also, seriously, real quick, if you want to read more about the movie, of course, anybody can pick up issue number 12. It's in there. Got a big article on her and the film. So definitely let us know where we can find you and how people can get in touch with you.
Yes. So my Instagram is Bryn Dami _ BRYNDAMI _ You can follow the Never Return movie Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. I want you guys to get the perks that you want, especially if you are going to be ready to contribute for that final one. Thank you, Jacob.
Nice.
Yeah, my birthday's Friday. I'll be 25.
Happy pre-birthday.
Thank
you.
Good for you. I hope you celebrate well.
Honestly, I deserve a little bit of a celebration.
You need a breather.
There's been some, I'm telling you, when I say there's been some hardships and a lot of tears of joy, tears of sadness, tears of frustration, it's a lot. But if you love it, you'll get to where you want to be.
You're doing the work.
Just keep moving. So yeah, go follow the Instagrams, reach out to me with any questions and all questions. If there's a perk that you want on the last one, I want to get you that perk. So thank you, Mary. Please let me know. Anybody that wants to contribute, I want to be able to give you that opportunity. It was amazing to see how many people were like, I still want to contribute. I just can't right now. I get it. It's the holidays and you know, the world's crazy. We're all struggling in our own ways. So I totally understand. Just know that regardless, even if you can just share, that means just as much to me and my team. You don't have to contribute to like help out. It's sharing. But I am keeping my fingers crossed. I'm praying and hoping that we get our remaining funding before I dig into my own funds. But I'm prepared to do that as well because I want this movie to be made and I want this out into the world. We have a lot of amazing music coming in. Yeah, I just had somebody send me some music. I am getting a song from a pretty well-known band, which I am mind boggled about. Just got to pay for that licensing.
I have my guesses. I'll ask you privately.
Yes, we'll talk really quick after. But yeah, I just want to say thank you both for all of your support and sharing and bringing me back on. Like you're like family to me now. So I appreciate all your kind words of encouragement and support. Like I said, it's been a crazy year and a half doing all of this, and it's been very emotional in a lot of ways. And I want the best for everybody involved, even if they won't be on set. So whether you're contributing or even help sharing and bringing in those contributions, like you're part of the Never Return family at the end of the day.
There you go. You guys check her out on socials. Follow this journey of this girl, this movie. We can't wait to see it. Join us at MegaCon. Watch the trailer again. We got to get you down here for MegaCon. Just come on.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest with you. I am very heavily trying to move that all around so I can get down there because I would love to meet you guys in person, but also see this film festival.
Come hang out.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's definitely in the heart of Orlando, 15 minutes from Universal. It's a really fun place to be. So, yep, Howard's looking forward to it. We all are. I can't wait to see it. We can't wait for MegaCon 2025. Everybody needs to come out. Real quick before we end this, we have 1 minute left. We have a huge theater, you guys. Our theater got upgraded from last year. Our theater every day last year, we had to turn people away.
Yeah.
We were up to 350 seats at this theater at MegaCon, and we want to fill every single one of them. So we've got incredible independent horror, short films, feature films. We already told you we've got the cast and the crew and the creator of Mutilator 2. We have even more announcements coming. Our lips are sealed for now, but you just wait.
Don't give it away yet.
There are so many reasons for you to show up to this. You know, the Junkies are going to be there having a great time, filling up our root beers at Wild Bill's, you guys, you know. So let's just come out and support indie horror and the indie horror community. Come hang out at the booth, come watch films, enjoy the convention. It's huge. Even if you're there all 3 days, you'll still never hit every single booth there. That's how big it is. Thank you guys. And Mary and Joseph King, they're great supporters of us. We love them so much, but it's just going to be a great time. And we hope that we get to see all of you, meet all of you. Bryn, thank you so much for coming on the show. Again, we're always here for you. Let us know what we can do to help and support. Go follow her and we'll see you guys next week. Bryn, hang out. We'll pull you back in a minute.
Sounds good.
All right. Hold on. All right. That was a great show and time just friggin' flew. My God, it was almost 9 o'clock before. Yeah. The only thing I definitely want to make definitely the only thing I want to make sure that we get across is that we are not going to be here next Wednesday because next Wednesday, of course, Christmas, and then the following Wednesday, of course, obviously is New Year's. So we're going to have to be without us for 2 weeks. I know it's going to be difficult. I know I'm going to have struggles come Wednesday, but it's all good.
You are going to have some serious issues, and I'm going to hear about all of it. But they can all join us on Instagram, Facebook, hang out with us. We're going to still making our announcements and our post online during the week on our social. So hang out with us there, send us a message, say hello, check in. Thank you guys for all the love and support, and we'll see you soon.
Yep, definitely want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we're going to have some big announcements our next episode back, which will be on the 8th. So make sure you come out and join us, okay? Good night, everybody.
Happy holidays, Junkies.